said, without further ado, this is going to be the complete opposite of Zoom fatigue. This is actually going to be awesome Zoomness, if that's a word, and you guys are okay with me making that up. What's up, everyone? I'm Max Ringelheim. This is Mac Meyer from Kettle Space. Really excited to have all you guys here today for an awesome presentation that I'm having the next opportunity to do. It's called How to Go Viral and Control Virality. Want to really thank Mac and the team over at Kettle Space for allowing me to conduct this presentation today. Ultimately, I want to preface it by saying it's going to be a really fun evening. It shouldn't take longer than an hour, 15 minutes, tops an hour and a half to get through it. But ultimately, I'm excited to have each of you guys participating today. It's a really just ultimately great opportunity to work with you guys and to tell you a little bit more about my story and specifically do a deep dive into the topic of virality and how to control virality properly, which is what is going to encompass today. So without further ado, we'll jump into it. And thank you so much again, Mac and Kettle Space, for allowing me to conduct today, and let's do it. Okay, so for a quick agenda on the evening, we're going to give you a quick explanation on how this game that we have encompassed in today's presentation is going to work. I promise it's going to be fun. There's no necessarily right or wrong answers. It's just going to be basically a really fun opportunity to have an engaged audience and also win some awesome prizes at the end. I'll give you a background on myself. We'll do an open discussion on different viral moments that I've identified in my life that I like to speak about. It'll be interactive, that portion. We'll give an introduction into the hoverboard story, which is what the core of the presentation will talk about. It's a former company of mine, followed by these two different breakout sessions that we have, where it will again be interactive. It will again be gamified. I'll share with you at the end how the story unfolds, and we'll do another interactive portion where there's these lesson learned and quick viral marketing hacks that I'll share with you guys for those of you who have some of your own companies and are looking for some pointed advice on the viral marketing front. So in terms of how the game's going to work, very simply, for those of you in the audience that are familiar with the show on ESPN, it's called Around the Horn. It's a pretty awesome show that I've been watching since I was in high school, believe it or not, where we're going to be awarding points to those of you who are engaged participants in today's workshop. When questions are posed to the broader audience, I'll ask for audience participation, and based on the quality of the answers that come in from the audience, I'll assign anywhere between 1 and 3 points in a sort of laissez-faire, free market kind of manner. I don't have any expertise being a game show host, so unfortunately I can't rely on my past successes in the game show world. But all in all, Mac over at Kettle Space, he'll be logging all of the different points that are being assigned to each of the different participants. And so as people accumulate points, he'll be continuing to keep score. And at the very end of the event, we'll be announcing who are the top 3 finishers of the workshop and who will be awarded some Amazon gift cards. And we've got some free coffee gift cards to give away as well from the Kettle Space team. And so ultimately, that's how it's going to work. If you have any issues with the point scoring, you take that up with Mac, M-A-C, not Max, M-A-X. Let's just be clear about that distinction. I know the names sound similar, 2 different people. One is just offering all the knowledge and information today, and the other is collecting scores. So, Mac, I assume you agree completely with that. They can hunt you down, not myself, right?
It's a very important job that I have, Max. Maybe even more important than yours.
Awesome. So, yeah, without further ado, we'll jump right into it. But that's a little bit of a sense on how the gamification element will work. So a little bit about who I am today. I'm 30 years old. I became addicted to entrepreneurship while in college at University at Buffalo. They had one of those super cool business plan competitions for undergraduate students to participate in. And not only did you win a whole bunch of money if you won the competition, but they also had one of those huge blown up checks that you might see on a show like The Price is Right type of thing. And so for one reason or another, I got hooked via this competition into the awesome world of entrepreneurship through it. Right after graduating college, I had started a video conferencing software company called Vonvo.com. I was lucky enough to win about $10,000 in that same competition at University at Buffalo, which was really cool to be able to say I accomplished. And after working on that company for 3.5 years, ultimately I decided to kind of bury that company in the graveyard. And then I got very heavily involved in the hoverboard space, and I launched a super, super popular company called PhunkeeDuck, which was literally the market leader in the hoverboard arena back in 2015. You're going to learn about that story today. Okay, so as I like to kind of start off each of my presentations, it's with the following little kind of icebreaker. Again, today is supposed to be a fun, engaging workshop. So by a show of hands, how many of you have ever started a company or maybe been responsible for launching a new product or campaign? By a show of hands. Awesome, awesome. And if you can keep your hands raised for me, of those of you with your hands raised, how many of you hoped, wished, dreamed, maybe prayed that this company or product of yours would one day go viral? Okay, it looks like most of your guys' hands are still raised. And guess what? I'm here today to tell you that sometimes going viral really fucking sucks, okay, people? However, if the proper planning is done to encourage virality to thrive, it can be absolutely awesome. And so today, as part of this workshop, I'm going to be giving you a sense of the negative sort of fucking sucks moments of going viral, as well as some of the positive awesomeness. And we're going to do a deep dive on this topic of understanding better how to go viral, how to control virality properly, so that hopefully it can be super successful for all you guys in the future. Okay, so this is our first scoring opportunity as part of this gamification element. I'd like to hear from the audience if you have any suggestions, and I'm going to show you my answers in a second. Who wants to step up and provide any sort of positive viral moments you might have experienced in the past? Maybe you saw a phenomenal Instagram video, or maybe you saw a phenomenal product or company go viral a couple of years ago. Over the last 10 years or so, who has seen a really positive viral moment and wants to give a quick explanation of why it was so popular? Go ahead. Anyone can speak up and just unmute yourself.
Hey, I thought the ice bucket challenge was awesome.
That is an amazing, amazing suggestion. What was your name, miss?
Geraldine.
Geraldine, it's great to meet you. You're getting 3 points for that, and you'll see in a second why. But 3 points for Geraldine, so awesome, awesome. Who's got another suggestion?
I'll throw out there Baby Shark.
Baby Shark, awesome.
Because it really just tapped into this whole generation of, I think we all know that culture is often defined by youth culture. And
right. So
it was a very clever way of focusing on, the youth, knowing that would cascade to a wider audience.
Absolutely.
In fact, I would say that's probably my biggest preconception about virality, is that if it's something that trends with, I want to say that like tween to teen market, then everyone else starts to know about it.
So cool. I love that explanation and the suggestion. Let's go 3 points as there for Patrick. Matt, please.
3 points for Patrick.
3 points for Patrick. Yeah, the explanation was rock solid. Go ahead. Who's next?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Anita.
I don't remember what it was called, but it was this video of like a dad talking to like his little kid, and that kid was like talking just baby talk.
Yeah.
But it sounded like a real conversation.
That's amazing.
That was really awesome.
Very cool. Let's go 2 points for Anita on that one. Who else we got? Any other suggestions?
Monica or David? Where you at?
David, any thoughts? You only have like about 5 different moments within the presentation for gamification. So this is like one of about 5 or 6 moments. Later on in the presentation, you'll see the rest of them. Okay, awesome suggestions. I'm going to go with 2 particular moments that really stick out to me. And Geraldine, you might realize why I really, really liked your suggestion there on the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, because I like to point that one out as well. If we had 4 or 5 points to give out, maybe we would have given you 4 or 5. But today we're doing 1 to 3 points. And that's in the rule book that we put together, months ago for this one particular event. I am totally kidding. We just, kind of put this together over the last week. So, so yeah, real simply, on the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, the amount of participation was enormous. We're talking about 17 million individuals that participated in the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Over $220 million raised globally. So the reasons for why the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge kind of start with the amount of engagement, participation, on top of that, you talk about the emotional element, right? Whether it was people who were doing this because they wanted to fund the cause and support the cause, or people who were doing it because they knew someone who was suffering from ALS. Either way, there was just this emotional element, and we're going to continue to talk about emotion later on in the presentation. From a shareability and low barrier to entry standpoint, also was super easy for anyone to gather a bucket, put some ice in it, put some cold water in it, pour it on your head, and have a iPhone filming you for those 30 some odd seconds. So again, another key reason why that particular campaign went as viral as it did. No one in the audience suggested Pokemon Go. It's a particular phenomenon that really excites me because of the fact that I used to be a huge Pokemon card collector back in the day. The way in which Pokemon Go, again, gathered a huge amount of participation, okay? Over 500 million people in its first year downloaded that app, okay? A huge amount of just excitement around a new technology-driven app and game for people to participate in. So that uniqueness involving augmented reality really stood out. It also had this incredible amount of longevity, right? So in 2019, they surpassed the 1 billion app downloads metric. These days, you might have noticed there are some TV commercials for Pokemon Go. They have a new tournament taking place, and they're actually advertising on TV the popularity of this particular tournament. So between the relatability of people like myself, 30 years old, who could really appreciate that type of app and wanted to download it and participate in it accordingly, combined with just the amount of participation, were really two awesome reasons why this company and app went viral, and another positive one. Okay, let's go to some negative viral moments. So we have another gamification opportunity here. Who wants to aggregate and get some points towards their total score on the negative viral moments and why those moments were so negative and went so viral? Who's got some suggestions? Go ahead, Geraldine. You're going to get the same one again? Go ahead.
I don't know about this one. How about the Trump Bible moment? Because he really made it to like have a good marketing thing, and it kind of, that one was like backfired on no matter who stood by him or not.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Let's go with 2 points on that one for sure. And Mac, by the way, just because my mouse is clicking a little oddly, would you mind just keeping track of the text chat, just because I don't have a good pulse on the chat and I don't want to exit out of presentation mode? Who else got a suggestion? We'll go 2 points for Geraldine on that one. Negative viral moment and why? There are plenty, and I'm going to show you a couple in a second.
I'll go another Trump one. When he mocked that disabled reporter,
Yep.
It seemed to resonate with his base, but it also caught him a lot of flack for just being downright disrespectful and nasty to a fellow human being.
Understood. 2 points for Patrick on that one. Makes perfect sense. Geraldine, you have another suggestion?
How about the Juliana Rancic, who is the TV show host? And there was this whole thing where the editing of her writers made it sound like she said somebody had dreadlocks and it smelled like, what did she call it? But it was a whole thing, and she kind of like almost got fired, and like still to this day, her career has not recovered.
Yeah, unbelievable, right?
After like 15 years of massive success.
Yeah, I think I know which individual you're referring to. Mac, let's go with another 2 points on that one for Geraldine. That's awesome.
I'll throw another classic one,
Yes.
Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
When that came out, and you just had the flood of accusers.
Right.
And it was really that moment that actually catalyzed the whole movement within the entertainment industry. So that I found very interesting, not only just for the significance given that he was such a prolific producer, but then the fact that you started seeing all these other entertainment folk also come out against not only him, but other people.
Love it. Yeah, no, it's a great point, and definitely a valid one. And I'll show you which two I'm going to highlight in a second. Let's go another 2 points for Patrick. Go ahead. Yes, Anita. Last one.
How about the what just recently happened in Central Park with the bird watcher and the white woman?
So good. Oh my goodness, what a great call out. Amazing. Yeah. Really like that. Let's go 3 points for that one. That's a really unfortunate.
Anita is back in the game.
Anita's back in the game. Let's go. Very cool. Yeah. So unless there's any other suggestions, I'll show you my two. Okay. So here are my two, guys. I'm going to call out the Boeing 737 MAX, and I'm going to call out Fire Festival. Okay. So we'll start with the Boeing 737 MAX. Why was this such a negative viral story, you might ask? Well, because within 6 months of one another, there were 2 plane crashes. Over 300 people, unfortunately, passed away because of really like whether you want to call it negligence, lack of testing, you sort of name it. There was literally a flaw in the airplane's flying technology that ultimately caused these 2 plane crashes. And, when you think about something like a plane, right, where, millions upon millions upon millions of people fly every year and they think that they're safe, right? To put a product out there on the market that had that flaw, had some serious repercussions. And so, not only that. Serious repercussions. Not only that. Where's the echo coming from? Do we know where? Are we good? Maybe? Hopefully? Awesome. Good. I like to speak, but I don't want to hear myself twice. Okay. So, communication issues with the public, right? So after these 2 crashes took place, they were literally looking left and right, trying to figure out and come up with a worthy reason for what had taken place. And they continued to fumble the ball. We're going to talk about crisis PR a little bit later, and ultimately how impactful that can be. And the crisis PR plan on Boeing's front was really flawed. There's still been continued to be missed timelines with fixing, and ultimately never everlasting nonstop coverage, right? I think Boeing reported their earnings today, on CNBC, and it wouldn't shock me if there were questions about the 737 MAX, right? So this continuous story continues to follow them to this day. When it comes to Netflix and Fire Festival, the Hulu documentary, the Netflix documentary really shine through in terms of how negative of a viral story this was, right? The misrepresentation of Fire Festival, right? People thought that they were paying thousands of dollars to go to the Bahamas for, this sort of incredible music festival event. And they'll be in these cabanas, they'll be, sort of eating grapes out of their mouths, just sort of like tossing them in their mouths, right? And eating, just world-class food and all this stuff. And it was, lo and behold, not that. You had influencers who literally just had these incredible videos go viral of them promoting a promo video of just people looking like they were in heaven, right? On the beach in the Bahamas, in their bathing suits, listening to awesome music, and it was completely not that. So a variety of different reasons why the Fire Festival went so viral, and ultimately for the worstest of reasons, right? You then had hundreds of people stranded, not knowing what it was and why they were even in the place that they were in because of how crappy of a job, the Fire Festival was executed, or lack thereof of execution. So those are 2 negative viral moments from my standpoint, and we'll continue on with the presentation. So what does it mean to go viral? Well, from my standpoint, I kind of sum it up in a few different reasons, right? You have the origin of the word, the what it is, the why, and the how. So it's a word that comes from the term virus. And for all of us who are, familiar with coronavirus, right, because we're all suffering through this together, you think about sort of how it's this medical term of an infectious disease. And when you think about the term viral in the marketing landscape, we have our cell phones here, right? And what are we doing? We're consuming content, and this content gets shared amongst different computers and amongst different phones, and people just literally, it infects their phones as if it's like a scientific virus, right? Infecting someone's immune system. What it is, it's creating content, whether it's a quick video, a quote, a meme, and it's something that is shared exponentially across the internet. Why it happens, it's something that has this mass audience appeal, okay? That's the critical element here. You need something that is audience worthy. Without the audience, you don't have the ability to see that piece of content go viral. And ultimately how it happens, it's, believe it or not, potentially more simple than you realize. If you can have a piece of content or a business or a product that caters to a particular audience, And that audience believes that it's worthy of sharing amongst its fellow audience members or its fellow friends, network connections, family members, you name it. You have this ability to create this avalanche of traction. Now, are there quicker, fast track ways of achieving it? Absolutely. And we're going to talk about those a little later on. Okay. Are we all good so far? We're all following through and all on the same page? Amazing. Okay. So are we ready to begin the story that's going to basically encompass our training today? You're going to hear how my hoverboard company, PhunkeeDuck, went viral and the story behind it. Sound good? All right, let's do it. Okay, well, how did it all get started? Well, it all got started back in October 2014. It was at the Canton Fair in Guangzhou, China. Think of the Canton Fair, guys, as sort of like your CES here in America in Las Vegas, but of China, okay? And this huge, massive trade show very simply was taking place in October 2014. And my soon-to-be roommates, the two principal owners of PhunkeeDuck, they were in China and they were looking for new products at the Canton Fair. And they were looking for new products because they had a cell phone accessories company. That cell phone accessories company was called FunkeeTree, and they were looking for new products to incorporate in FunkeeTree. They sold, cell phone cases, cell phone chargers, earbuds, you name it. That's what they sold. And they were kind of like bedazzled looking cell phone chargers and cell phone cases. And they're walking across the trade show floor and they randomly discover the hoverboard walking the show floor. And instantly upon discovering it, they instantly fall in love with it. They put their feet on it. They ride it around the booth. They just can't get enough of it. They just are so infatuated by the device. And they decide to purchase a couple of units because they're so infatuated by it. And they bring it back to Queens, New York, which is where I'm living with them. And they bring it back to Queens, New York. And I all of a sudden become fascinated by it as well, right? I think that this product could be huge, right? Why do I think it'd be huge? Because I also put my feet on it. I start riding around on it and I am just like, holy crap, how am I so easily just riding around the streets, riding around our apartments without any effort whatsoever on this magnificent device? And so it's January 2015 and I decided to leave my old company, Vonvo. I decided to partner up, move in with these two friends of mine in Queens, New York. And so the three of us, we start strategizing on launch plans for this company, PhunkeeDuck. We start thinking about, do we want to move into a larger office? We decide to actually do that because we know that we're going to need large office space to be able to accommodate for these larger products. And every time, guys, that we ride around in this product, okay, people's jaws drop to the ground. Like literally, people's jaws absolutely drop. We're riding around Queens, New York. People will stop in the middle of the road in their car and they will just admire what the hell it is that we're gliding along on. Like they just have no sense or understanding as to how we're doing what we're doing. And their jaws completely drop. And so then we get to March and April of 2015. And these two founders of mine, my roommates, they take a trip out to California for a week. And they're out in California to do a trade show at a retail store. It's fairly common, right? A retail store invites you out there to show off some of your new products. And they serendipitously meet an individual named Dave. And Dave is as well connected as you can possibly be with every celebrity in the world. I crap you not. Like seriously, he is literally best friends with every celebrity you can imagine, okay? And so Dave sees this product and he also falls in love with it. He can't get enough of it. He thinks it's the coolest thing since sliced bread, right? He is just so infatuated by it. And so when the founders get back to Queens, New York, there is serious rumor that Kendall Jenner from the Kardashian family wants to promote our company, our product. And Dave is facilitating it. He's like, guys, I think Kendall now wants one of your products. So what do you think happens from there? Well, we get super freaking excited, right? Like, have you guys ever seen Will Ferrell in Elf, right? Like, that guy is as freaking excited every second of the day as you can possibly be. And so we are equally as excited by this news. People would absolutely kill to get this kind of promotion. And all it's going to require from us is one free hoverboard. So, like, think about it. That's incredible to hear, right? That type of news. So we're super excited. And although we're not officially launched, we do have at this point in time, it's around, April, May, we have about 24 hoverboards in stock in our new office that we just moved into. And so we decide to think, right? We're like trying to think about, is this what we want to do, right? And so we're thinking a little bit. We're thinking about, well, influencer marketing was one of our go-to market strategies. So this is kind of checking off that box if we're going to kind of go this route and work with Kendall. At this time, Kendall has 50 million followers on her Instagram. And so this is literally one of the largest in the world at the time, May 2015. The opportunity to work with Kendall at essentially zero cost, right? One free hoverboard is going to cost us. That is like an opportunity that just so infrequently, seldomly comes about, right? So it's making us think that we have this sort of shoot your shot moment. And are we really going to let that come and pass us by, right? That's what's kind of going through our heads. And so where does that lead us to? Well, it leads us, friends, to our first breakout session, okay? And so as part of what our first breakout session means is, very simply, we're gonna have 2 training slides coming up next, okay? One of those training slides is gonna talk about the must-have characteristics for something to go viral. The next slide is going to talk about the best practices used to have something go viral. After we go through these 2 training slides, I'm gonna allow you guys to ask me any questions that you want up until this point in the story, okay? I will give you as much clarity as you want up until this point in the story. And then I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes. I'm gonna divide you up into breakout groups. And you're gonna get 5 minutes to answer 2 really, really difficult, challenging questions, okay? And these are all gonna be gamified scenarios, right? So your responses are going to equate to your scores. And so without further ado, let's go into these next 2 training slides. Does that make sense? Everyone following? Cool, okay. So must-have characteristics for something to go viral. Who wants to step up and provide a suggestion as to what you think some must-have characteristics are for something to go viral? And after we get some suggestions, I will show you my top 5 listing of the key things needed characteristics-wise for something to go viral. Go ahead, Geraldine.
Entertaining or educational or funny.
Love that. Great suggestions.
Like
Awesome.
has to create an emotional response.
Love that. Love that. Let's go 2 points for Geraldine. Matt.
Mass appeal needs to also have a relatability factor,
Absolutely.
which kind of ties into mass appeal.
Yep.
And potentially like low involvement in the sense of like the action that someone takes, either if it's something as simple as liking something, sharing it, or you know, kind of to your point about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, easy to do. The easier it is for someone to do, the less friction there's going to be for them, you know, spreading that message further.
Absolutely. Love it. Very great stuff. Let's go 2 points for Patrick there. Any other suggestions? Anita, any suggestion? David, any suggestions? Okay.
It has to be unique.
Go ahead, David.
It has to be unique.
Has to be unique. Great suggestion. Absolutely. Let's go 2 points for David. Get him on the board. Awesome. Guys, here are my top 5 characteristics, okay, for something to go viral. Timing and capitalizing on a moment. These are hugely important in the world of virality, right? If you think about companies like Zoom, if you think about companies like Slack, these companies have experienced viral growth. Why? Due to the pandemic most recently, to be honest. I've read articles about how much hockey stick growth these companies have experienced. And what's the moment there, right? These companies couldn't have been even better well-equipped for something like a moment like coronavirus. First to market is another really important thing. If you can be first to market with a particular product, with a particular item, with a particular campaign, the first to do something, guess what? You give yourself that much better of a chance to ultimately go viral. This eye-popping jaw-dropper effect. So, you know, we mentioned it before with regards to the hoverboard, people's jaws would literally drop to the ground when they would see the hoverboard, right? And so as a result, what took place? Our product gained so much traction. And I think the eye-popping jaw-dropper effect lends itself into number 4 and number 5, right? Emotionally engaging. If you have a product that drops your jaw, right? Well, guess what? You have a particular emotion that's been struck, whether it's joy, whether it's satisfaction, whether it's excitement, whether it's sadness, right? You name it, that emotion has been triggered, right? And as a result, lastly, you have to have something that can cater to a large population of an audience. Maybe that is tens of thousands of people, maybe that is millions of people. either way, you need something that can cater and justify as an audience being interested in it, because then that audience shares it with its fellow audience members. Okay, next training slide. What are some of the best practices for going viral? David, Denny, Anita, Patrick, any thoughts? Geraldine, best practices for going viral. Who has a thought or a suggestion?
Tied to either press or influencers. So
Yep.
press being the more traditional angle. You know, as soon as you get mentioned in one big name publication, you'll often see syndication across a bunch of others.
Yep.
And then similarly with what you said about the hoverboard in the case of Kendall Jenner, but anytime you can get some, you know, free shout out from a big name influencer, then you'll see other smaller influencers talking about this. You know, I think of the example of like what's recently happening with YouTube drama, right? Like one YouTube creator talks about an issue, and then suddenly all these drama channels talk about them talking about the drama.
Yep.
So it creates viral moments there.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that. Let's go 3 points for Patrick there. Who's got another suggestion? Go ahead, Geraldine.
I would say speed, either like speed of like editing in video or like an actual like quick video, but just like keeping it visually interesting and moving.
Yep. Absolutely. Great suggestion. Let's go 2 points for Geraldine there. Who else got a suggestion? Denny, any thoughts on what's a best practice for going viral? I know you joined a little late, but that's okay. Any thoughts?
Sorry, I just got wake up. It's 5 a.m. in Jakarta.
We've got my friend Denny from Jakarta, Indonesia. So he woke up early to participate.
Okay,
Awesome.
I think
Okay.
the best. When I see some of the most viral videos in the internet, it's mostly emotionally engaging. I think that's
Yes.
one of the most important one is emotionally
Love it.
engaging to other people, so they could relate to what the videos are, or the
Absolutely.
or the content are.
Makes sense. Let's go 2 points for Denny, Mac. Very, very cool. Okay. Denny's on the board. See, Denny, you get into the conversation, you're on the board. That's great. Okay. Here are my best practices for going viral. Influencer marketing, right? We're going to talk about that shortly. Influencer marketing is huge. It offers you shortcuts into going viral. These influencers, whether we're talking about a micro-influencer with 25,000 followers or a Kendall Jenner with 50 million followers, either way, that is an audience right there for you to participate and work with and engage with whatever it is you're doing, and ultimately shortcut your way, to be honest, into the viral marketing world. User-generated content is another really key one. If you can have a particular product, campaign, you name it, that can allow for the folks that are engaging with your material to want to produce some of their own material, right, related to what it is that you're doing. Again, that can offer this viral network chain of seeing whatever it is that you're doing spark some real serious viral interest. Keeping it simple is another really important one, right? So the more simplistic that your viral campaign, your product can be for someone to understand it, grasp it, wrap their mind or their hands around it, the easier it's going to be for something to go viral versus something that has a lot of different steps, a lot of different instructions, etc., to be involved in. Shareability. You want something that people feel inclined to share. You want something that is easy for someone to share. There are so many different examples of this, and ultimately it's super critical in the viral marketing world. The last one, public relations. Patrick, you literally hit the nail on the head on that one. You know, PR, there is this is what those entities do. They help things go viral because they have these massive audiences. These press publications have been around for decades upon end, whether we're talking about the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNBC. These publications have massive audiences that they can cater to, and they allow for other publications to then pick up what it is that they reported on. So it just has this natural viral flow or uptick that takes place. Okay, we're up to our cliffhanger number 1. These are going to be 2 questions that you guys are going to be divided into some groups. I think we'll probably go with one group of 3 and one group of 2. The questions are, how would you attempt to maximize this viral moment that Kendall Jenner is presenting to PhunkeeDuck? That's question number one. Question number two is, what would be your first viral marketing campaign if you were in my shoes, right? You were the owner, you were a co-founder, you were one of the first employees of PhunkeeDuck. What's going to be your viral marketing campaign that's going to allow you to hit the ground running? And hopefully some of those last two training slides will allow you to come up with some great suggestions. Okay, so those are the two questions. Before I break you out into some breakout groups, I'm just going to exit the screen, the presentation mode. Who's got a question for me? Because you're going to get 2 minutes to ask me whatever questions that you want that will hopefully allow you to answer these questions in the breakout session better. Go ahead, Geraldine. What's your question?
How many products do you have ready to go? How soon?
Yeah, so at the time of the Kendall Jenner posting, right, which is where we're at in the story, we have just about 24 hoverboards, and you should be under the impression, Geraldine, that if we submit an order to our factory in China, that we should be able to receive that new product inventory within a week, okay? So that should be your impression of how quickly we can get new inventory if it's needed and if we decide to work with Kendall. Does that answer your question?
And that would be to customers, or that would be to you?
That would be to us for them to be able to ship to customers. Okay, cool. Who's got another question? Any other questions before I put you in breakout groups? Again, I won't hint at anything that happens after this point in the story. I will answer any questions up until this point in the story, right? May 2015 or so. Go ahead, Geraldine.
What are her requirements?
Yeah, so her requirements, as mentioned in the last slide, is she just wants one free hoverboard. If we give her one free hoverboard.
But I meant requirements as far as like her participation. Does she require video? Does she require length? Does she have any kind of rules as far as her implication?
She's communicating to us that she is willing to promote either a photo or a video of her on a hoverboard on her social media accounts. We haven't come up with any sort of guidelines. What we are really, really emphatic about is that we get tagged in the promotion. So that would be the only requirement from us. If we're going to give her a free hoverboard, we want to know that she's willing to tag us in that post. That make sense?
Is this prior to Instagram enforcing the like hashtag ad or hashtag
Nope,
sponsor?
this is before that. So we're before that time. Yep.
Okay,
that's right.
Good stuff.
Cool. All right. We're at the 2 minute mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys in some breakout groups. Okay.
Anita, I have a question.
Go ahead. Anita, go ahead, please.
Geraldine essentially asked the same question.
Okay. No worries. All good. Okay. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to open up some breakout groups. Let me just open this up quickly. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to get 5 minutes to come up with answers to these two questions. So take a look at them, right? How would you attempt to maximize the viral opportunity that Kendall Jenner is presenting you with? And what would be your first viral marketing campaign that you attempt to launch so you hit the ground running? Okay? Those are going to be the two questions that you're going to get 5 minutes to answer in the breakout group. Okay? I'm going to divide you up into that right now. And let's see. Usually we do automatically. I'm going to click create breakout groups. Let me just look at the times. I have to just check off a couple of boxes here. They automatically close after 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, you'll get a 60-second countdown. That'll notify you that you're going to be coming back into the main lobby of the room. Okay? Awesome. Okay. So we've got Mac, I'm going to put you in one of the rooms, so you'll just participate in that. Anita, Denny, and Geraldine, you're going to be in one room. David, Mac, and Patrick, you're going to be in the other room, okay? And I'm going to divide you into those breakout rooms right now and just come up with these answers. You'll get 5 minutes. Here we go. Here we go. And what's up, Patrick? What's up, David? Geraldine, we're all back, I think. Denny is back. Amazing, amazing. I think we're good. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Awesome. I think we're all here. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to go back into presentation mode, and what we'll do is each group, we have two groups, they'll share your answers. If someone from the group can nominate themselves to share their answer, that would be awesome. And then I will give a 1, 2, or 3 to each person of that group for your score for this first breakout session, and everyone in the group will get the same score. So how about we go with Patrick's group? Who wants to speak and share your answers.
Yeah, so I'll be speaking for Mac, David, and myself.
Go ahead.
So in terms of what this viral opportunity, the key reason I asked that question of how we were in terms of the layout of Instagram at the time was that is where the audience resides for Kendall right at this moment. And a lot of overt ad campaigns get significantly lower traction for influencers than if it looks like it's something that they just organically are doing by themselves.
Okay.
So the first step we would be thinking of is connecting the PhunkeeDuck team with Kendall's media production. Most of these big influencers usually have, at a bare minimum, like at least a couple of like videographers that follow them around, right? And so we want to match the aesthetic of Kendall's Instagram to make it look like this is just organically part of her usual routine, as opposed to her promoting a product just like being, you know, quote unquote paid to do it.
Yes.
And then when we're looking to the second question of like that first viral marketing campaign, our key is like the story behind the passion that, like, you know, she said to you guys, hey, I really want this hoverboard. Well, that should be the thing captured. It's like, look, I heard from my friend Dave about this cool hoverboard. These guys, PhunkeeDuck, you know, I'm really excited about it. You could have a whole series of content about her trying it out, what her emotional reaction is to it. Because in our mind, the fact that this isn't known right now is that you need it to kind of my earlier point, you need it to become quote unquote cool with the people that are, you know, ostensibly within Kendall Jenner's market, because that's how we're going to get the first viral traction in order to get to the widest possible audience.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think trying to align for some feedback. We'll go, Mac, 3 points for each person in the group there. You know, on the videographer front. That's so funny. When it comes to the videographer front, I agree completely with that. If you could do something really, really special with that team of hers, that's going to be awesome. The caution that I would put to you and challenge you on, Patrick, that is really important for you to realize, and hence why we do this as a training so you guys can get some valuable info out of this, is we only had about a 3-day window to make a decision on if we're going to be working with her or not, right? Because in the influencer marketing world, as you'll learn through today and in the future, oftentimes you get this moment to work with them, and if you don't capitalize on that moment, it passes you by. So that would be my only pushback on the videographer front, is that you might lose that timing because you have to then maybe fly back out there, or maybe you have to coordinate more logistics associated with it. That would be my only piece of constructive criticism there. I think ultimately, though, going this route is the right way in order to then ultimately hit the ground running. Obviously, you know, that question didn't pop up, you know, so you didn't have that context ahead of time, but just wanted to share it because it's really good, you know, insights for you to know for the future. And I know what you're doing with your work, and I hope that you find that helpful. Okay. Anita, Geraldine, who wants to speak from your, Jenny, go ahead.
I was nominated to speak for us, Anita, Denny, and Mari. We came up, we also were with Instagram because Kendall is so clear on Instagram. We really wanted to look very like her world, like very fashion centered, since she's a top model. We're not sure if there was video on Instagram at the time, and video would be good because we can see the product move, but otherwise just something like a photo really focusing on her feet. But we spent a lot of time to maximize talking about how to make it viral through a call to action. So that's the way we kind of came up. It's not the actual language, but something like her saying, do you get to call yourself funky, just to like work with the title, with the name of the product? And then she'd be like, I know with this, you know, she would say it, I get to call myself #funkyAF. You know, and then she would say something like, tag your friends who also got one of these and get to call themselves #funkyAF.
Love
something
that.
like that.
That's awesome. Another 3 points for your team. Great job. You know, I love the creative nature. See, we even have an audience in this, you know, first version of our gamified presentation. let's see. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the idea of implementing some creative hashtags, some creative play on words associated with our brand was something that we absolutely did, right? That was our hashtag, believe it or not. It was Get Funky. That was our hashtag during the PhunkeeDuck days. So I'm all for that and really enjoy hearing that type of suggestion from you, because I think you're spot on with it. And you give someone not only just a fun product to get engaged in and to want to share, but also a really fun play on words to share as well. So great job, guys. That's awesome. And this is designed to be my breakout sessions with this workshop, quick back of napkin solution. So kudos to you guys. You did a great job. Okay. Do you guys want to hear what happens next? Maybe, sorta, ish? Okay, cool. Here we go. Let's do it. Okay, what happens next? Well, we decided to give Kendall a free hoverboard. So we did, in fact, do that. And Kendall posts a video, guys, that literally blows up the internet, okay? Over 1 million likes and over 50,000 comments on this video of hers in less than 24 hours. And PhunkeeDuck's social media starts literally going through the roof, okay? For 48 hours straight, my phone would not stop ringing because we were just accumulating more and more and more and more followers. And through the night, through the evening, I crap you not, like it was crazy what was going on. And here's a video that she posted. Check this out. So she gets around turn number 1.
You got that turn down. It's like a racetrack for you.
She gets around turn number 2, but watch what happens on turn number 3. She gets too cocky. And she falls and literally busts her ass, guys, okay? That video she posts on her Instagram, tags PhunkeeDuck, and that video goes viral overnight, okay? And all of a sudden, PhunkeeDuck is this global phenomenon, global brand, global reach with this miraculous device that no one knows what the hell it is that she was just riding on. And what do you think happens from there, guys? A domino effect, because all of a sudden our friend Justin Bieber, he wants a hoverboard for him and all of his buddies. And Jamie Foxx wants a hoverboard as well, because he's telling us, and his agents are telling us, that he's going to go on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show if we give him a free hoverboard and he'll ride into the entrance on one. Chris Brown, J.R. Smith, Wiz Khalifa, Kevin Hart, Ryan Lochte, you name it, these massive celebrities are requesting hoverboards, okay? And you'll see some videos now coming up shortly of what went down with these celebrities and promoting our brand. Aside from that, guess what? There's huge TV shows that are requesting PhunkeeDucks as well. Modern Family, the popular ABC TV show, is requesting a hoverboard because they want to name drop PhunkeeDuck on national television and they'll include us in the script. Shark Tank, the producers of Shark Tank are saying, guys, you guys want to come on Shark Tank and want to present to the panels of judges, you know, Kevin O'Leary and Mark Cuban and all them, we will shortcut you guys, fast forward you to the front of the line because this is the coolest product ever. Workaholics, Criminal Minds, the producers on Criminal Minds, they're reaching out to us. They're like, guys, we need a dozen hoverboards because, you know, we have these interns, they deliver coffee on like these big clunky golf carts. We think that, you know, having the hoverboards would just be a better approach for doing it. So we have huge TV shows asking for PhunkeeDucks, right? What else do we have? Well, we have major press, CNBC, Bloomberg News, Time Magazine, Wired, Business Insider, you name it. These major press publications are requesting hoverboard because they want to interview us. They want to do a story on us. Kendall Jenner, all these other celebrities are asking for PhunkeeDucks, and they want to be covering the company that is at the forefront of this movement, of this product that, you know, got into the hands of Kendall Jenner, or I should say the feet of Kendall Jenner, right? So, you know, ultimately, major publications wanted to cover PhunkeeDuck as well and do articles on us. What else is going on? Well, sales, my friends, are soaring. In less than 8 weeks, we do over $1 million in sales of these hoverboards. $1,500 hoverboards we're selling. That's a lot of cake, okay? People are buying them left and right. And guess what? We're accumulating over 100,000 followers on social media in the same time period, less than 8 weeks from launch. We have these incredible margins on the product. So, what do you think, guys? It's probably time to just kick back, We're 25 years old. We'll go to Florida. We'll post up. We'll drink some pina coladas on the beach. You know, we'll just retire early, right? Like, what else do we have to think about now, right? We've got everything going for us. It's all good and dandy here in the hoverboard space and with PhunkeeDuck, right? What do we think? We think we're right? Absolutely not, my friends. We are dead wrong, because this is where only the problems begin. So what are those problems? Well, I can't tell you because we have another cliffhanger moment. We have to go into a breakout session. Okay, so similar to the last time, we're going to do 2 training slides. One is going to be on the common things people forget when it comes to going viral. The second slide is going to be on controlling virality properly. You're going to ask me any questions you want up until this point in the story. We're in, like, call it July, August time right now of the story of 2015. And then I'm going to divide you up into those same breakout groups. I'm going to give you 2 more challenging questions to try and answer in 5 minutes. Sound good? All good? Awesome. Let's keep at it. Okay. Common things people forget when it comes to going viral. Before I show you my top 5 things, who's got some suggestions? It's a tough question. Go ahead.
Inventory. I mean, you mentioned at the start you had 24 hoverboards. That's not nearly going to be enough for this massive demand you're going to get. And if you don't service those customers quickly, then this great viral moment is going to bite you in the ass.
Yep, 3 points for Patrick. Great suggestion. Love it. Who else got a suggestion? Excuse me.
Yeah, but I asked that question about that. You said you had a weak turnover to give it to you and then to them. So that problem was not one, right?
It was not one. But Geraldine,
it is still a problem, because even if you have a week to bring over new inventory, like this blew up in 24 hours. Like, right. That's for Americans who expect everything to happen now. That's not enough.
I would think quality control.
Yeah, absolutely. Quality control is a real issue. Geraldine, to your point about the time period, this particular workshop, I have multiple workshops that I do. This particular workshop doesn't go too deep into the issues that we face with China, but know that, because it might come up in the question and answer that you'll ask me before we go into breakout groups, know that at this point in the story, Geraldine, we're starting to see that 1 week time frame become 1.5 weeks, and then 2 weeks. And there's starting to be some, like, issues where we're paying our factory a lot of money for our hoverboards, but they're getting caught up in customs. The delays are starting to kind of pile a bit, okay? But who's got another thought on some other things that we might forget? Any other thoughts about common things we forget?
I was wondering about liability, like, because when I saw her fall off it, I'm thinking some people are going to get injured.
Some people might get injured. Yeah, another great point. Anita, we'll give you 2 points for that. Mac. You there, Mac? You're doing my scoring, right, Mac? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions?
All over it.
He's all over it, guys. Remember, if there's any mess up, you follow Mac, not Max. Mac only. Any other thoughts, or I'll show you my top 5.
Wait, did you give Geraldine any points for her suggestion?
Geraldine, I apologize profusely. Again, go after Mac, not Max, even though Max called me out here on that one. Let's go 2 points for Geraldine as well. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Here are my top 5.
Patrick gets the points too.
Patrick gets 2 points for that comment. Great job. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I apologize. I am not following the rule book you made 6 months ago, Matt. You have to correct me when I'm wrong. Again, Patrick, 2 extra points for Patrick for that great commentary.
Go, Patrick.
Okay, here are my top 5 things, guys. Common things people forget. Number 1, things can get out of hand really, really quickly when it comes to virality, okay? All of a sudden, you think you have control over a situation because Kendall Jenner, you told her to tag your post, and she did. But guess what? There are a accumulation of other potential issues that are on the horizon here. Your brand name is on the line. When it comes to virality, guess what happens? You all of a sudden have a huge amount of eyeballs watching you. And what else happens? The expectations for you to execute and deliver go up. And all of a sudden, if you don't deliver, what happens? Your brand name starts to become tarnished day by day, week by week. Number 4, more resources are certainly needed in critical departments. So Patrick mentioned, the idea of needing more inventory. That is absolutely one place where more resources might be needed. What's another avenue? In viral marketing, here is the key takeaway to realize. There are specific departments and specific teams that are directly tied, tentacles-wise, right, to the viral traction taking place. And so those departments are going to need more resources, and you want to be planning ahead for that. And number 5, you need a crisis PR plan, just in case, because the last thing you want to be doing is playing catch up with the press, and the press painting you in a bad limelight and trying to have to backtrack and have the editors edit your story, right? Because it's not true, or one reason or another, for rhyme or reason. You need a crisis PR plan ahead of time. That's a common thing that people forget. Okay, how do you control virality properly? Who's got some thoughts or feedback on how to do it? It's not easy, but I'll show you my top 5 things in a second as to how to do so. Anyone have any thoughts?
I would probably say that the first element is having a good set of customer service representatives on hand, and sort of trying to project. I mean, I know you can't fully project how viral something will go, but that if that's going to be your strategy and that's what you're going after, like, you knew that as soon as Kendall Jenner, the likelihood of that blowing up is going to be massive. Absolutely. So, you need team members in place who can, explain the product to people, mitigate some of those concerns that Anita brought up about liability. So education on how to properly use the product.
That's correct.
That way you're getting ahead of it and you're controlling the narrative of this is the best way to use the product, as opposed to sort of just like hands off, letting it in the hands of consumers and letting them run riot.
Love it. Let's go 2 points for Patrick. Who else got a suggestion?
I would say in the back end, if possible, ask the person to send what she's going to use first, so that a team of experts can anticipate potential problems.
Love that. Great suggestion. Yep. Let's go 2 points there for Geraldine. Amazing. Love that. It's a great suggestion. Anyone else? Any thoughts? All right. No? Okay. I'm going to show you my top 5. Someone just mute their camera. Amazing. Thank you. Here we go. Okay, ways to control virality. Number 1, guidelines for what you will and will not do to fuel your virality. So when something is going viral, oftentimes there is a lot of opportunity to continue to fuel that virality. And as a sound business owner, a sound marketer, whatever you want, whatever role you're in, you need to have those set guidelines of what you will do, what you will not do to continue to fuel that virality, because you can end up biting yourself in the butt if you try to bite off too much more than you can actually chew. Number 2, have a high barometer for who you want to be working with. So when you're going viral, right, you get a lot of different people reaching out to you similarly. And some of those people are kind of really, really important, and others are not all that important. And you are in the driver's seat. You have the leverage. Your company, your product, your campaign, whatever it is going viral. So give yourself a high barometer for who you're going to work with, and don't just try and accommodate and cater to everyone who is reaching out to you. Keep yourself a high barometer for working with folks. Number 3, simple instructions, messaging, talk track. This relates to what Patrick was just referring to. You need to have simple, on-point messaging and talk tracks to be communicating to those who are engaging with your brand. Because without it, people are going to be confused and they're not going to be saying the right things about your brand. Rather, if you can control the narrative with simple instructions, with simple messaging, it will help dramatically. Number 4, plan ahead for which departments are directly tied to the virality and might require those resources. Because think about it this way. If you have that resource allocation plan ahead of time, you're not going to be playing catch up as this viral wave is taking place. There might be a little bit, but not nearly as much if you planned ahead and had that resource allocation ready. And lastly, number 5, work with your viral partners directly. The last thing that you want to see take place is you have your product going viral. You have these partners helping you go viral. And then you're talking with, that person's sister, or that person's, brother, or their best friend. You have these middlemen in between. You want to be working directly with the source of who is fueling your viral traction. Okay. Here's our cliffhanger number 2. I'm just going to go out of presentation mode for a second. So cliffhanger number 2, I'm going to divide you back up into those 2 groups of breakout sessions. The 2 questions you're going to answer are the following. How would you handle the interest coming from A-list celebrities, mainstream news outlets, and television programs wanting PhunkeeDucks? Question number 2, what business support practices and mechanisms might you put in place to properly control virality, to control the virality PhunkeeDuck is experiencing? So hopefully those last 2 slides, provide you with some adequate training as to how you might handle some of these 2 questions in your answers. Before we go into those breakout groups, who has a question for me about where we're at in this point in the story? And I'd be happy to answer it, and just to give you some more clarity and context on where we're at in the story.
How much funds do you have?
Great question. Geraldine, imagine at this point in time that we are cash flow positive. We have the funds needed to fuel the business and fund the business from that previous company Funky Tree, because they were cash flow positive, and they, prior to 2015, had done like $2 million in business of their Funky Tree products. And so there is money to fund the business. And also, Geraldine, keep in mind that one of the roommates of mine, one of the principal owners, he had a very rich uncle that if we needed him to, cut a $50,000 check, a $100,000 check, that was within his means of doing, because he was an equity owner in the company.
Great.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay, who else got a question?
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Anita.
Did you have like employees? Was it just the 3 of you? How many people are involved in this right now?
Yeah, so you're going to be super, super impressed by this, okay? You ready for this answer? We were a team of about 20 people, and half of those people were super, super rock star individuals. I mean, they were your best college interns that you could find. You get it? Get that joke? Yeah, straight up. Half the team was college interns. They were doing this as a summer internship. And, so of the team of 20, you got about 10, 12 or so that are college interns, and the rest are myself, the 2 co-founders, and a few others that are out of college at that point. Sound good? Answer your question?
I guess.
Okay. Did you have a follow-up to that? It's about a team of 20.
I mean, do any of them have skills, like experience in marketing or, supply chain or?
Yeah, great question. So the extent of our experience, I personally did not. The other 2 principal owners, my roommates, they did have some experience working with China, and they had that experience from that previous company, Funky Tree. Did they have a product that was going viral off the wazoo to deal with China? No, but they had some experience dealing with factories in China and working with them. And as you know, they were in China back in October. They revisited China back in March, April to talk with their factories. So they had some experience there to cater to. Does that make sense? Cool.
Yep.
What's your margin on each hoverboard? The reason I ask this is, how risky is it for you to bring in a large inventory of hoverboards, and worst case scenario, some of them not get sold?
Yeah. So we're marking up the products about 200%. Okay. On top of that, our gross margin on the units themselves is, between 60 and 70%. So very healthy gross margins, to say the least. And ultimately, our comfort level in wanting to get a crap load of hoverboards is very much so there, right? Like, we have the funds to put in a, $250,000 of inventory, right? To get 500 some odd hoverboards into the States, to get 1,000 hoverboards into the States. We're just now dealing with our factory to get that type of ramped up production based on the demand that they're seeing. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. We're at the 2-minute mark, so I'm going to divide you guys up into some breakout groups. We'll do the same ones as last time. And let's do it and take another reading of those questions. And we will start in another 3, 2, 1, 5 minutes, 60 seconds. Perfect. Okay. I think we're good. So here we go. I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. You got 5 minutes to answer those 2 questions. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's jump right into it. Patrick, do you mind going first again and sharing your answers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So the main thing we were focusing on is kind of, again, the issue of inventory management. So
Okay.
rather than just let every single A-list celebrity, every single mainstream news, let's focus in on who is that desired customer audience, right? And let's just focus on selling them and making them super happy with the product. So that would be our filter. So for example, if PhunkeeDuck was targeting, let's say, like 18 to 25-year-olds, we'd make sure that, and maybe they're a particular gender, a particular demographic, whatever it is, we would use that as our filter for which celebrities, which outlets, which TV programs we partnered with. Otherwise, we're going to quickly run into a problem where you have so many people interested in the product, trying to buy the product, we're going to get inventory issues, and then it's going to collapse in on itself. And then the second process about business support practices, we had a couple of different things. One, ahead of the viral moment, this was what David mentioned, was having good process documentation. So like you mentioned, you had a bunch of college interns. It's not so much worrying about do they have the experience to enact on it, but can they follow a process? And if they can follow a repeatable process that, you know, delivers the right customer service, that answers the right questions for customers in the appropriate time, can talk to the press with the right talking points, that way you simplify it, as well as ensuring a consistent message that's going out. Particularly, a thing that Mac mentioned about inventory was, is there a way to consider other factories, which we also thought maybe not, because this is a first to market product. So in that case, maybe you lean into the fact that you have a viral moment, that you have leverage, and that you say to your factory, hey, I know you service these 10 other clients, but we're willing to put down a $500,000 order with you right now. Like, what does that look like? Does that bump us to the top of the queue in order to hopefully get ahead of those inventory issues that are going to materialize? And then the final thing we mentioned was, again, good customer service. Even when people have a problem, if you can quickly address any customer service issues. I know this myself, like if I have an issue with Amazon, I go straight to them. They deal with my issue very quickly, and I don't have any negative perception towards their brand. That's going to be pretty critical, because you know, given this viral moment, there are going to be hiccups. So you just need to be able to mitigate the negative brand perception that might result of that.
No, absolutely. I'll give you a couple pieces of thoughts, and we'll go 3 points on the board for yourself, David and Mac. Right, that was who was in it, right? Those three? Yeah, cool. On the front of the messaging with the interns, right, with having it really down pat, scripted, really, really tight. Love that. I think that's really huge. There's no doubt that we tried to really, as much as we could, maximize our intern help. And, you know, could there have been more focus on that? Absolutely. You know, customer service, your other remark, that was where we felt a lot of pain. And so ultimately, you know, when your phone's ringing off the hook nonstop and you've got hundreds of emails coming in each day, having more resources and process in place to handle that is what's needed. You know, we had a couple of interns assigned on that, but, you know, ideally, like, you know, another half dozen more were needed, right, to really try and fulfill it. In terms of your remark about the inventory, right, with the factory, my response to you, again, just constructive criticism would be, we're in the July, August 2019 time period right now in the story, right? And at that point, the hoverboard is straight up blowing up in terms of popularity, right? Like everyone now knows what this thing is. Everyone is talking about it. It's everywhere. You're going to see why in a couple of moments. I'm going to, you know, wrap up with our closing slides. But, you know, at this point in time, it's $500,000 isn't going to do it, right? To see what that order shapes out to be. We're talking like you're going to need tens of millions of dollars to be putting up for a legitimate, okay, we're going to put you to the front of the line type of scenario. So just want to, you know, share that with you, because I think it's important for you to realize like how much demand and how much need for a huge PO would be needed in order to maybe try and facilitate that. Anita and Geraldine, who wants to go?
I was nominated to go.
Please.
So The idea that we came up with is to create like a sense of scarcity and exclusivity about this device, because knowing the you know, things that you have that you can't create millions of them right away.
Yes, yes.
So creating this like aura of like, it's this really special thing that's maybe going to take like 6 months till you get it. And like the first, and even with your celebrity thing, you decide who are your A-list celebrities who are going to be the incredibly lucky ones to get it.
Understood.
And then people will be like, oh, they have the PhunkeeDuck. Look at them. You know, there's like one person in a seat. And then you get to the B-list celebrities and on down, and create this, I don't know exactly what the word is, but create this aura that you're waiting like 6 months till you get your device.
Yeah, you're hyping it up. I get it. Any thoughts on question number 2?
Well, I guess I thought that's kind of the same thing.
No, that's totally cool. I just wanted to make sure I gave you the chance to just iron that out. So yeah, my thoughts and feedback there would be, I think kind of creating what you're talking about, an aura, or like maybe you could call it like a cascading effect, right, on the globe, right, where you're just having this exclusive element associated with it, is really, really cool. You know, I think the potential issues that you sort of find yourself in there would be that like you're all of a sudden leaving a lot of people disappointed that they're not able to have a hoverboard, right, or have a PhunkeeDuck. And similarly, you find certain opportunities that go to the wayside for a new competitor on the market to maybe take advantage of, right? So it's like, if you have that super exclusive element and feel, that's awesome, but know that there could be, and there was, right? I say it because there was. We don't go too much into detail on this workshop, but in others I do. We had others coattailing us like no other, right? And they just were ripping us off and just following our momentum and riding the tidal wave of traction, and would have been right on any one of these other opportunities as soon as they you know, realized that PhunkeeDuck was going to take advantage of it. Okay, let's go. We'll go 2 points on the board for that group as well, Mac, okay? Let's go into our wrap-up of the presentation. And we're going to conclude with the following. So what happened next? Well, my friends, the negatives of virality totally outweighed the positives of virality. That's the long story short for what ended up happening. So you might be asking, well, what does that mean, Max? I will show you. Okay. Well, here are some of the positives, okay? We'll have a couple of slides and videos showing the positives. Check this out. This is Jamie Foxx on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show, riding into the audience on a PhunkeeDuck and name dropping us on national television.
But this is a PhunkeeDuck. That for real? It's a PhunkeeDuck. So if you want to try it, it's the cold part about it. I can't get off. Like that.
Unbelievable, right? Okay, it keeps getting better, right? More positive, definitely more positive. This is Kevin Hart and his wife on Instagram, tagging PhunkeeDuck and doing 2 separate videos back to back, not just one. One video and then 10 minutes later, another video on their PhunkeeDucks. Check this out.
Sunday fun day, our household. We PhunkeeDucking, you know what I'm saying? Playing follow the leader. He's so fucking stupid.
So check this out. They're dancing.
Hey, we PhunkeeDucking. Hey. Hey, yeah. Now skate it.
Unbelievable, right? Okay. Guess what? It gets better. How about Modern Family? Remember we talked about that TV show?
After work, I saw this and I thought of you.
What is it? It's a key?
Yeah, it is. It is a key. But a key to what?
No! You got me a PhunkeeDuck?
No more walking for my man. Walking's for jerks.
Oh my God, that is the best gift ever. I don't know where it stops and I begin.
Unbelievable, right? The opening of the show on ABC national television, we get this feature. Unbelievable. Positive press as well, right? Major press coverage and major positive press coverage. You're going to soon learn how that turned negative pretty quickly. But ultimately, look at this. Time Magazine, Bloomberg, we get our name in the actual subject line, title of the actual article. So just incredible, incredible positive publicity from these major news outlets. Okay, but then you might ask, well, what about this negative you speak of, Max? I thought the negative outweighed the positive. Well, let me show you how that took place. This is Mike Tyson, the former heavyweight champion boxer, in his home, riding on a hoverboard. I don't believe it was a PhunkeeDuck because I don't remember him tagging us here. Check this out. Watch what happens. The kid said, I don't want you to fall. That hurts. Really bad.
I broke my back.
He broke his back.
What do you mean by that? Your back is broken.
That's an old highlight clip from him in one of his fights. But literally, right? He probably re-broke his back. Unbelievable. This is ABC. Before we were just on ABC for Modern Family. It was so positive. Now look, this is ABC World News Tonight. And what is this about?
As millions buy gifts for their children this holiday, one family saying the hoverboard they bought for their son ignited. And you're about to see images of their burned out home amid new questions. Was it the battery or was it something else? Here's ABC's Matt Gutman.
Unbelievable, right? So these hoverboards, they start exploding. And now these news headlines are not all that favorable, if I might add. Why are hoverboards continuing to blow up? Are you expecting your hoverboard for Christmas? Guess what? It might explode. Well, that's not the type of news that you want to be in, right? Hence the crisis PR concept we were talking about before. Well, what happens next? It gets even more negative. Why? Because now the homes start to burn down after these fires take place and people get injured. So now the headlines are talking about, guess what? Not only might it explode, but if it's charging in your home, here's an example of a home that burned down due to a hoverboard. Local doctors start getting swamped with hoverboard injuries because people that try to just jump on it and in the first 30 seconds try to be a master end up breaking their ankle or breaking their foot, whatever it might be. And then what happens after that? Well, our friends at the government and our friends at Walmart and these major entities, the MTA, they start banning hoverboards. And our same friends at the press, they start ripping the hoverboard apart because of these entities banning them. So Yale University bans it on campus and Walmart takes it off its website. And the MTA subways, for those of you that live in New York City and you were here in 2015, you'll recall you saw an image like the one in the center. On every subway in November, December 2015, there were these bulletin boards on the outside of the subway and it said, no hoverboards allowed. Who wants that type of press, people? I don't think anyone, right? That's really, really, really challenging. A serious punch to the gut. So what ended up happening next? And we're almost done, guys. Basically, these overheating batteries and fires, they ultimately were coming from the knockoffs on China. If you've been to New York, there's a place called Canal Street, very, very inexpensive tchotchke goods. You would have hoverboards selling for $150, $250. These were the ones that were built using these faulty components, would overheat, catch fire, and burn people's homes down. The government stepped in. They investigated the whole hoverboard industry. FedEx, UPS, they stopped allowing you to ship hoverboards. You could no longer send a hoverboard to a customer because they were banned. How can you own or operate a business that way? I basically came to grips with the fact that the item was a fad product, and I decided to leave the company around March of 2016. Around 6 months after I left, some of the other employees, those interns, they went back to college, etc. And there was no one to operate the business. It kind of just fizzled out. Our warehouse even, believe it or not, where some of our hoverboards were stored, it caught fire. And so we lost some of our inventory, unfortunately, due to that. They had other products. I don't think it was due to the hoverboards. It was a warehouse and it caught fire and, bring things full circle, right? Pretty unbelievable, but true story. And so here's our last gamification element. We have our lessons learned, guys, on how to go viral. So if we can get one last element of interaction, there's 2 more slides here. What are some of the things that we think PhunkeeDuck did correctly in terms of going viral? Anyone have any thoughts, suggestions?
the partnership with Kendall Jenner was a really nifty use of influencer marketing to essentially get free press. Like, you didn't spend a dime on marketing, really.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, let's go 2 points for Patrick there. Anyone else have a thought on what we did correctly in terms of how to go viral?
You seized the opportunity when it came.
Great
you really
suggestion.
seized it.
2 points right there. Absolutely. We absolutely did. We grabbed the bull by the horn when the opportunity presented itself. 2 points there. Any other thoughts? Okay. Here's what we did correctly. We executed our influencer marketing plans really well. We developed a brand that people gravitated towards and wanted to promote. I know we were talking about like user-generated content and people wanting to use our hashtags. That was happening day in, day out. We chose our earned media partnerships really effectively. I mean, like that spot on Modern Family, the spot that we got on CNBC, I mean, we just got massive publicity in earned media, all for free. And we just chose those really, really well. And then we created really easily shareable UGC content, right? People were able to like literally get a hoverboard, post an awesome image or video of them using it, and upload it and share it with their friends. And guess what? People were so mesmerized by this product that they wanted to do it. What did we do not correctly? Any thoughts?
Didn't manage didn't manage inventory correctly, didn't have good customer service processes in place, didn't have a crisis communication plan to get ahead of it. As soon as anyone tarnished the hoverboard industry, you were tarnished as well, as opposed to you maybe being the quality leader, like saying, we're the quality leader, these are cheap knockoffs.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. 3 points for Patrick. Anyone else have a thought?
Systems from beginning to end, not a clear from beginning to end. So like no videos on like, or templates or anything quite automated where like it's easy for newcomers to step in and take over. Delegation is missing.
Yep. That's right.
And also like part of, and I think a clear storyline on the fact that the other hoverboards were actually not like differentiation, positioning, explaining how your company is safe and not to be bundled in with others, like a clear storyline on safety.
That was a huge issue, Gerald. It was awful, having to face that. So great points all around. 3 points there for Geraldine. Okay.
I'm still going to go back to the liability thing, that you needed to have some kind of training or waiver or something.
Absolutely. I agree completely. Let's go 2 points for Anita there. Great point. Absolutely needed. Agreed. Okay. Here's what we did not do correctly in terms of how to go viral. We didn't properly plan ahead of time before experiencing virality, right? We did not have our ducks. Yes, I know, so corny, but ducks in a row, right? We went too viral too quickly. We generated more traction than we could handle. And so unfortunately that came to bite us in the butt, right? Like we just ultimately went too viral, and that is a serious learning experience. You can ultimately have things get out of hand too quickly, and that's what happened here. On number 3, we got caught up in the celebrity mirages. So I'd love to talk about this, guys. While Justin Bieber, while Jamie Foxx, while Kendall Jenner, while they were all promoting us on social media, and then we got all this press coverage, it created this mirage as an entrepreneur in your head. It made you think that everything was so beautiful and so amazing, and everything was going so smooth sailing on the outside. But guess what? On the inside, we were having massive, massive issues of bubbling up. And you would solve one issue and then 3 new ones would pop up. And so this mirage effect was really, really difficult and really something that we didn't do correctly or handle correctly. We didn't conduct enough market testing before experiencing virality. There could have been some tests done in the marketplace for us to see like, hey, how much traction might we get? But instead, we went completely into the deep end of viral marketing with our company. And we went with Kendall, and it ultimately came to bite us in the butt. And we didn't position ourselves properly from a messaging standpoint. We didn't position ourselves properly. We didn't convey ourselves as like the patented version of the device, for instance, right? We were buying a patented version of the hoverboard. Why wasn't that at every bit of information that we were sharing, right? Every talking point. things of that nature could have really helped us out in terms of going viral and doing it properly. Okay, what are some lessons learned about controlling virality that we did correctly? Any thoughts?
You did leverage a good system of both celebrities, TV endorsements. Your marketing cadence was quite honestly quite perfect.
Yeah.
In the sense that like each time, like, you know, you had your initial moment with Kendall, and then you also had like new celebrities coming, and you have the appearance, right? So that way, like, you never got a drop off in momentum. You were always
so on point. That's a phenomenal answer. 3 points for Patrick there. You're going to see why in a second. Anyone else? Okay, here's what we did correctly. We maintained our leverage in negotiations with influencers really, really well, right? I mean, it was literally free hoverboard after free hoverboard. We didn't pay $10,000 to Justin Bieber or $20,000 to Jamie Foxx. It was consistently us having the upper hand in negotiations and sticking to that. A free hoverboard, you know, maybe 2, maybe 3, right? Tops, to get the kind of promotion that we were getting. We were stringent and effective in receiving proper tagging. So on social media, all these celebrities were talking about us. It was not like they would just say they had a hoverboard. They would say they had a PhunkeeDuck, and that was huge. And we were stringent and effective in implementing that. We worked directly with the influencers and their partners and agents. So that middleman comment I made before, right? We didn't have to deal with the middleman. We were dealing directly with the source. And then finally, to Patrick's point, it was month after month, new viral opportunity after new viral opportunity. We consistently fueled this viral engine for 8+ months. And that is, there's something to say about that, right? What did we not do correctly? There's a lot. I know. What do you think we didn't do correctly, if you want to try and ramble off with you?
Again, didn't control the fact that obviously you controlled the marketing side of it, but you didn't control the supply side of it, which you kind of must have, it's easy with hindsight, but you should have known, hey, if we're generating all this buzz from a marketing perspective, then that's going to generate X% of that will be sales. And we need to make sure we can fulfill that. We make, you know, to Anita's point, we need to make sure we give proper training, good onboarding, good customer service, and then make sure we can continue to supply new hoverboards and not have an excessive waiting period. I mean, this ain't a Tesla. You know, I want it today. I don't want to wait like 6 months before I get it. Totally.
Awesome stuff. Anyone else have a suggestion?
Yeah, not about just the business side, but because the question is about controlling virality, the actual timing, like how much time would be in between A-listers. So instead of them going, you know, it could be like, wait a month, with kind of delaying, using it instead of 8 months over 16 months. Like you said, time.
I mean, listen, the company failed, right? So longevity would have been super important to be thinking of, hindsight 2020, right? Of being able to unfold that for a longer period and not put all the eggs up front in one basket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Let's go 3 points there for Geraldine. Anyone else? Okay, here's what we did not do correctly. I know there's a lot. Here's 7 things. Okay. Have a crisis control PR plan in place, right? We did not do that. And for all the amount of negative press that came about afterwards, think about if we had that, right? We might have been able to avoid getting looped under the same umbrella with all the crappy knockoffs. We didn't position ourselves differently enough from the competition. You know, the product, ours versus the shitty competition, there were absolutely differences between them. Even though they looked the same, the riding motion of one versus the other was different, and we could have communicated that. Ultimately, the certain product characteristics, like the padding, like the fact that you know, this could go over certain bumps, the fact that you know, we had a team there to answer the phone if you had concerns or questions. Like, there were just certain product characteristics, company characteristics that we didn't do a good enough job of communicating. We weren't disciplined in giving away free product to influencers. Going back to that point around having guidelines, we just gave free product away so easily, okay? Like, yes, we put some thought into it, but not nearly enough. And so from a budget perspective, if you think about the amount of free product we gave away, Well, guess what? Those were a lot of hoverboards that could have been in people's hands that paid us $1,500 for the product itself, right? We didn't legally protect our brand well enough online. I know this was mentioned before from Anita, right? Like we could have had better legal protection online of our brand. Instead, like other knockoffs started popping up, PhunkeeDuck 2 or Funky_Duck, on Instagram, like different companies like that would start just trying to rip us off. And that was a problem. We got lumped together with the rest of the industry and the crappy knockoffs, which really, really, really hurt us down the road. And we didn't allocate our internal resources properly, right? I mentioned before, customer service was a huge thing that we needed more resources towards. We needed systems to accommodate for. And we need it for a lot of other reasons as well that we didn't talk about tonight. But ultimately, that gives you a good sense. Here, just to sum up, are some quick tip viral marketing hacks for you guys. I want to make sure you can feel like you leave with some additional takeaways. Ultimately, like, check this out, right? Try to align yourself with influencers who are directly involved and passionate about your industry, right? Because you can take those shortcuts into viral marketing by doing that. And it's easy enough these days to reach out to that 50,000 person following on Instagram who's a D-list celebrity, right? But he's focused on cooking or he's focused on toys or whatever it might be to have them align with your industry. Don't be afraid to cause or stir up some initial controversy. In viral marketing, there's no doubt that if you can, sort of stir the pot a bit, right, and get people talking, you can ultimately give yourself a better chance of having more people want to share and, promote your brand, promote whatever it is that you're doing, even if it has a little bit of negative connotation up front, get more of the word out. Incorporate powerful emotions into what you're doing. We talked about it before, whether it's, joy, excitement, happiness, ambitious, charisma, like something, you need emotion baked into whatever it is that you're doing on the viral marketing front to allow it to receive that audience. Try putting yourself in a position to generate your own luck. Like, I'm a huge believer in this. For me, like, and as many of you know, if you have your own businesses, like, we work really hard as entrepreneurs. We try to really take advantage of every opportunity that's out there. And guess what? By doing that, you ultimately find ways to viral hack your way into some success, which you saw today. Think outside the box. If you're thinking big, think bigger. What do I mean by that? Well, Steve Ballmer, the former CEO of Microsoft, is big on this remark. He really wants people, if they're thinking big, to think bigger about whatever it is that they're trying to strategize on, roll out, launch, etc. And that's how you're going to get this winning viral marketing product campaign, you name it, whatever it is. And make sure you conduct adequate and proper planning before going viral. Because if you don't, you can ultimately and potentially jeopardize your business. And hence, when that takes place is when going viral really effing sucks, right? Okay, so here's just a quick glimpse as to what I've been doing post-PhunkeeDuck days. And you've probably been wondering, like, what the hell does this guy do now, right? Like, he just talks about hoverboards, or he just, like, stopped working? What do you do? Well, right after hoverboards, right after PhunkeeDuck, I started blogging, podcasting, doing workshops like today. And I started writing a book called When Going Viral. I actually got more of like an actual corporate America job where I was full-time at Little Bits, a really popular children's education technology company doing sales for just over 2 years. I was also full-time this past year at WeWork on the product marketing team, which was really, really awesome. And, I'm currently right now doing sales and marketing consulting work for multiple international companies. That's what I'm doing at the moment. And lastly, what I'm doing, and I would love to see if any of the people here in the audience are able to help in this regard, I'm pursuing a public speaking career, an educational, motivational speaking career through my When Going Viral workshops, very similar to what you experienced today. I have different topics that I do them on. Today you experienced the how to go viral and control virality properly. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, if you know any organizations you think would be interested in my workshop, I would truly, truly appreciate any sort of introductions into said organizations. So that is my workshop. Thank you so, so much for listening. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. I don't know how else to put it. Thank you so much for spending the time. I apologize for being a little bit longer than anticipated, but it seemed like the engagement was really, really good, and I wanted to allow it to continue to be that good. So thank you all so much for listening. I'm here to answer any other questions you have. I'm here to be of service and of help to anything you guys might be working on. So if there are questions you have that you want to talk about offline, my email's at the bottom. If you can follow me on social media, I would truly, truly appreciate it. And here's a link to a survey that I'm going to post. If you guys wouldn't mind filling it out, I would love, I'm going to put in the text chat. I would love for you guys to fill it out. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, and ultimately it is just going to help me in understanding how successful and thought-provoking and positive you thought today's workshop is. And if it was, really shitty, don't worry about it. You can say that too. But hopefully it wasn't. So yeah, does anyone have any questions or remarks, or anyone have any companies or organizations that you think might be interested? I know, Patrick, we've talked about a couple, so thank you so much for your help in the past with that. But ultimately, there's my email. If you know any, just feel free to reach out and let me know. And I would truly appreciate that type of help as I try to pursue that career. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions. And did you guys enjoy it?
It was so good.
It was so good.
One of the best training. Yeah, it was so engaging and fun, and full of information. I have a question. How was transitioning from such an amazing entrepreneurial journey back into having a regular job?
Yeah, great question. I loved it, to be honest with you. I was 25 years old at the time. I had never had a boss. I had never, sort of worked in that type of setting, but it was missing on my resume. And so it made sense, I think, at that moment to do it. I had saved up enough money from PhunkeeDuck days to move into the city. So I was able to sort of like job search in the city. And, I started off doing consulting work for a couple of different clients. And then one of those clients, Little Bits, ended up hiring me full time. And, while I was at Little Bits, I had the opportunity to launch 2017's, Toy of the Year. It was a Star Wars product called the Droid Inventor Kit. So I got the chance to experience big wins aside from just this crazy hoverboard story that you got a chance to learn about today. Which I also think is another big win of mine, but obviously it has its kind of tumultuous ending, as you see. That said, though, so getting the chance to work in Little Bits or no worries. Thank you so much, Anita. Such a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, ultimately, I really, really enjoyed getting the opportunity to work in more of a corporate setting. And what I also learned, Geraldine, is that I don't know all that much. There's a crap load that I don't know a lot of information about, that even though as an entrepreneur you get exposed to so much, you become so much more of a generalist oftentimes, that I was able to literally get so much education and business knowledge being in that type of setting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much for all your participation. You guys were great for a small group. It was awesome. I loved it. Patrick, did you enjoy it? I know this is the first time formally participating. I think you've seen a few videos, but any thoughts, any remarks, any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen some of the pitch materials you'd done for getting this workshop in front of people, but really, really enjoyed actually participating in it physically. This was really good. I love the interactive components. I loved how it just had that blend of both story, but also allowing us to do some business problem solving. Really good job, Max.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Denny, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, definitely. This was the first of its kind workshop I actually attended, so I definitely learned a lot, and I actually am in a few gigs right now. So yeah, I definitely gonna use this advice moving forward.
Amazing. That's so awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
When is your book coming out?
My book. That's a great question. So to answer it, I'll answer it honestly. I started right in 2016 after the hoverboard saga. I just started writing a book outline. I got 60 pages deep in terms of a chapter by chapter book outline of the hoverboard story. And then I kind of just let it sit on my computer, and it still has kind of sat on my computer. I haven't done much with it. Over the years, since 2016, I've had thoughts about how the book might have evolved since then, right? I think that there's other interesting ways to approach a book, aside from it maybe just being about PhunkeeDuck and the hoverboard story. So I think in due time, I'll reapproach it. But, at the moment, I'm really, really excited about these workshops and how I'm getting a chance to work with folks like yourself today, and hopefully others at awesome organizations, as I try to pursue a paid speaking career, right, in this world. And what I also kind of noticed was writing is great. I love blogging, and the book was great to go through the exercise of creating a book outline, but I do genuinely feel like my sort of strengths are in the public speaking world. And so I want to try and pursue, something like a strength of mine that has some cool immediate opportunity, I think, before I, spend another year or two trying to write a book in a very comprehensive manner.
I can't wait.
Awesome. I got a first buyer. I got a first.
I'm sure you've got more. They just didn't tell you.
I don't really, honestly. No, but thank you so much. I'm so glad you're interested. That's great. Like advice.
I think a lot of people would be interested.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much. The kind words are really meaningful. So thank you. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? Because I am, no pun intended, an open book. I happily will answer any questions that you have. And, I know that we covered only about like 20 some odd percent, 30 some odd percent of the story. As Mac knows, like my other topics I do this on cover other things like China and e-commerce and fraud and things like that. So, this was the marketing focused viral story. So if you have other questions about any other subjects, just let me know. And you have my email there. Feel free to reach out if you have a question about your business or just life, or I'm here to be supportive. And I genuinely mean that. And would appreciate you filling out the survey, following me on social media. And like I said, I'm just looking for any referrals into organizations that might find this exciting. So feel free to let me know if you have any. Aside from that, Max, should we cut out if there's no other questions?
Well, can I reveal the winners?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? Max, you're such a rookie. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, please go ahead. Yes. The winner of our first, let's tee this up, right? Our first around the horn style gamification kettle space when going viral workshop. If that's not, that's really bad branding, guys. Don't call your stuff that. That was way too long. Who do we got? Who are our winners?
Okay, well, in third place, Anita wins a bag of coffee.
Awesome.
All right.
What type of coffee was it? Starbucks or Gregory's? What was it?
Think Coffee, which is a partner of ours.
Awesome. Think Coffee. Who doesn't want a bag of coffee? I love coffee. Come on. It's awesome.
Yeah. I got to hunt her down and get her address. In second place, Geraldine wins an Amazon gift card.
Awesome. $20 Amazon gift card for Geraldine. You got it. We'll sync up afterwards and you'll get me the info. Get it to you.
And in first place is Patrick with another Amazon gift card.
Awesome. Awesome. $30 gift card for Mr. Patrick to Amazon. And I'll sync up with you to get that over to you. Great job, guys. I can't believe I almost forgot that. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, well that was great. This worked out super, super well. David, everyone, I mean, you guys all did fantastic. Thank you so much for the participation and the kind words afterwards. We'll get this up on YouTube, the recording, in case you want to play it back or, whatever it is. And I look forward to being in touch with all y'all in the weeks and months to come. So thank you so much for participating. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you to everyone. Awesome. Great stuff, guys. Talk soon.
Bye.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Take care.